Okay, it's going to be a review of Extreme Rules 2022. All right, so looking back at last year's show, the main criticism was there wasn't any Extreme Rules matches until you got to the main event. So overall, great pure wrestling show last year, but a lot of the finishes and just the lack of Extreme Rules stipulations definitely got a lot of criticism. This year, you got a little bit of everything here. You got a different gimmick for every match. And a pretty eventful show. Lots of good storyline progression. And, some of the matches did over-deliver. So, I definitely thought this was a great weekend for pro wrestling. You got two great pay-per-views. So let's get right down to it. First match of the night, you got the Brawling Brutes of Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch taking on Imperium of Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci. So this is Imperium's WWE pay-per-view debut, and I got to say, this is great stuff. This felt like more of a, NXT UK, quality of a match than a watered-down WWE six-man tag. In terms of Sheamus, man, I got to say, he's probably, more over than ever. This is the loudest and the most over I've ever heard, the crowd for Sheamus. And I just think a lot of it has to do with Gunther, Walter, whatever you want to call him. He's just a great villain. He's almost Drago-like. He's so intimidating and he's so, he's so impressive looking that, he makes Sheamus feel like an underdog. And, I think that's one of the reasons why the fans are so behind Sheamus. Just think a lot of it has to do with Imperium as a whole. So, but yeah, this was great stuff, man. This was a good old fashioned Donnybrook match, and really, really wild stuff, man. You had Butch Pete Dunne, doing dives off the barrel. You had Kabashi like chops from Gunther delivered to Sheamus, while the Imperium dudes actually took Sheamus's arms and tied him up. And yeah, Gunther gave him some impressive chops, so he looked like hamburger meat. But overall, I thought everybody had a chance to shine here. This is a huge coming out party for, some of the Imperium guys that never got a chance to shine yet. And yeah, I just thought everything was great. Great atmosphere, hard hitting action, a little bit overbooked, but it was just a lot of fun, man. And, there was one part of the match where the Brawling Brutes were using the shillelaghs and the crowd got a little bit quiet. And then, almost immediately, Sheamus gave Gunther that razor's edge, or what do you call it? The Celtic Cross through the table, and the crowd just ate that up. So yeah, really overbooked. And Sheamus got a huge victory here after putting over Gunther at Clash at the Castle. So yeah, this was probably one of the highlights of Sheamus's career, just in terms of crowd reaction. So yeah, one of the best openers of the year, and probably my choice for match of the night. So definitely good stuff there. Next up, we got Liv Morgan taking on Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This ended up being an Extreme Rules match. They just couldn't maintain the momentum of the previous match. I think a lot of the crowd just doesn't buy into, Liv going up against Ronda. It's tough, man. It's almost like the Ken Shamrock situation to a degree, maybe even a little bit worse. Liv was trying to, take apart Ronda with just gimmicks, with the tables and all the foreign weapons, while Ronda's just trying to strictly. I think the storyline was Ronda's like, I don't even need the Extreme Rules. I could beat you with my bare hands, or I could beat you into submission. And you saw a lot of that there. She actually trapped Liv in between the ring and the apron and just started pounding on her chest. Liv actually did take out a table and was able to actually hit a double leg drop through the table to Ronda, but Ronda kind of no-sells it and puts Liv in a triangle choke. And it was pretty cool, man. Liv actually doesn't tap out. She passes out. But the way Ronda did it, she basically had, Liv's head just stuck and the eyelashes started coming off and she looked like she was going to pass out. It ended up being more of a submission to the biceps. So, yeah, the submission came off pretty good. But overall, the match as a whole, it just lacked a little bit of heat. And I would definitely say the worst match of the night, probably. Wasn't exactly a squash match like their previous match. Well, the previous match wasn't exactly a squash, but, Liv definitely got more offense in. A lot of it had to do with the stipulation. But overall, I can't say that Ronda and Liv really clicked here. I really could not get into a lot of what they did here, but it definitely did have its moments, though. I'll definitely say that. All right, next up we got Drew McIntyre taking on Karrion Kross with Scarlett. This is a strap match, and yeah, I got to say the strap match as a whole, not that good. There's a lot of other strap matches that Michael Cole was paying homage to that were a lot better than this. He actually mentioned Sting versus Vader from Super Brawl '93 as the best strap match of all time. So it kind of made me want to see that match instead of watching this one. But I'm not going to take away from this match. I thought this actually had a really good finish. I actually liked the finish here. The match as a whole, I can't say it was great. Karrion Kross, a lot of his heat, a lot of his offense in the beginning, just wasn't that engaging. Drew's comeback towards the end was pretty good. I definitely think Drew got the fans into it towards the end of this thing. But, more than anything, I just like Scarlett. I liked her attire here. She was definitely wearing very risque attire. She had her cleavage out. It was very Jenna Trish-like in terms of cleavage, and kind of a throwback to the Sunny and Sable days, where you get to see a manager, dressed up like that and really play into the finish. So I really liked it. I think it's a breath of fresh air to have, females pushing sexuality and actually being involved in the finishes. She actually spit some sort of chemical in Drew McIntyre's face, and just the way she did it, it was, Drew was setting up for the Claymore. And then, Scarlett was able to spit at Drew and interrupt him, and Karrion Kross gets a victory over Drew McIntyre. Huge victory for Karrion Kross. I mean, you got to say, man, we were not that far removed from, Mick Foley coming on and just saying, he's not sure if the WWE is the place to be if you're a young up-and-coming guy like Karrion Kross trying to make a name for yourself. And then look what happens here. He gets a big victory over Drew. And, yeah, I got to say, the match as a whole wasn't great, but I like the finish. The Scarlett Karrion Kross entrance presentation, just how hot Scarlett looks. To me, it's a breath of fresh air, especially when we live in a society right now where all these companies, because of advertising, want to eliminate nudity and sexuality. I just found it very refreshing, no doubt. So we'll move on to the ladder match for the Raw Women's Championship. We got Bianca Belair defending against Bayley. One of the very few women's ladder matches that we've seen in the history of pro wrestling. I got to say, maybe one of the few that we've seen in WWE history. I'm not sure when the last one was, but there's not too many women's matches that were ladder matches. So a very historic night for Bianca and Bayley. Very WWE style ladder match, very heel driven, babyface driven. I can't say that the ladder match is, going to have the type of replay value and the spots and the, entertainment value that a match like Cody and Sammy Guevara had earlier this year. That ladder match is a little bit more spot happy. So in terms of, high spots, I can't say that this ladder match is going to have a lot of replay value. I think this is one of those ladder matches you just really need to see it once, and that's good enough. It just doesn't have a lot of replay value for my personal taste, but I respect what they did here. I thought it was, it was a slow-paced ladder match with Bayley just trying to punish Bianca. They're just pretty much trying to punish each other. Bayley specifically trying to sandwich Bianca, and she actually took off her knee brace, just trying to slow her down. Bianca's just trying to get the match over with as soon as possible, get up the ladder. So they kept it pretty simple. There wasn't any monumental bumps. I think the sickest bump here was when Bianca actually took a sunset flip while the ladder was actually laid up on the turnbuckle. I'm trying to think here. Bayley actually did take the KOD on the ladder. I thought that was pretty cool, but for the most part, it was a pretty slow burn. But yeah, I still thought that got the job done. I thought this was good stuff. I thought it was a good moment. there was some really good facial reactions in the crowd from, trying to kind of zoom in on some of the, newer demographics that, the WWE hasn't attracted in years. They had a shot of an older woman just kind of looking at some of what was going on here, just in awe of, some of the carnage in the ring there. So, yeah, Bianca fights off the interference from Bayley and the NXT girls, and another good win for her. So I think that's the right call. I think putting the title on Bayley this soon, after she took such a long break, I think that would have sent a bad message. So, yeah, I definitely would love to see Bianca and Ronda Rousey unify these belts down the road. I think that's a big money match. Maybe we'll get to see it at WrestleMania. So, good stuff there. But like I was saying, guys, I don't think the ladder match is going to have a lot of replay value for everybody, and definitely not like a match of the year candidate, and not one of the better ladder matches of all time. Okay, next up we got the I Quit match between Finn Balor and Edge. They go about 30 minutes here. Okay, so this is going to be a tough match to rate. I would say in terms of the actual wrestling, until, all the overbooking came in, it really wasn't anything special like the beginning of this thing. I mean, they really kind of, gave you an Attitude Era type of I Quit match, with Edge was actually out in the crowd trying to choke Finn Balor out with a hockey stick. And then they went all the way up the bleachers. So you saw a lot of the WWE audience. And it's funny, man, the WWE fans have just... it really is like the total opposite of AEW right now. You're probably seeing more females than ever in the crowds, which makes a lot of sense, but also a little bit more families than you're accustomed to, especially since the Attitude Era. I mean, the Attitude Era, they used to do this shit every single pay-per-view. But I gotta say, in terms of the storyline progression here, in terms of the drama, and yeah, Michael Cole too. I thought Michael Cole was great on commentary here. So this ended up being more of like an ECW type of match. I wouldn't be surprised if Heyman was involved in the booking of this thing, because it really kind of felt like that, where it was just, you just have different personalities, just a lot of drama and lots of interference. And it's an I Quit match. So, yeah. Overall, man, I thought this was great stuff. I thought everybody played their role nicely. So, I mean, I'm not going to break this whole thing down, but I will say this. Like, as soon as you saw Beth come out, you kind of knew exactly what the finish was going to be. So, yeah, Beth definitely plays into the finish. That's what makes Edge say, I quit. So, I thought Beth Phoenix was great in her role, trying to play the savior to Edge after Mysterio actually got annihilated by his son. So, but I got to say, man, this is great for a lot of different guys. I thought it was great for Finn Balor. I thought this was great for Dominic. I thought Dominic got a ton of heat out there, and it was just cool because Michael Cole's commentary seemed the most passionate when it was about Dominic. And, we're a little bit over 20 years now from that Edge and Eddie Guerrero match where you had Dominic at ringside. So I'm going to assume, like Michael Cole has known Dominic for over 20 years now. And so, maybe getting, maybe meeting him that young and seeing him evolve to where he is now, maybe it makes him that much more, passionate about putting over that storyline. So, yeah, I definitely thought Cole's commentary here was good. So I'm glad that it actually got some recognition. But yeah, man, if they were ever going to do a Mysterio heel turn, though, I think this would have been the time to do it, because there was one part in the match where they actually had Edge handcuffed on the ropes, and he looked like he was in a position to take a 619. So I'm like, wow, man, if Ray turns on Edge right here and sides with Dominic and joins the Judgment Day, like, this would be the time to do it, especially when you see Edge ready to take that 619. But that did not happen. Ray comes out. I don't think Rey Mysterio could ever be a babyface. But like I was saying, guys, if it's ever going to happen, this might have been the time to do it. But yeah. Lots of good interference. I thought Rhea Ripley was great here. There was one part in the match where Edge is, like I was saying, the handcuffs. Edge was about to do the spear, and then Rhea just comes out of nowhere. And it worked out really well, because when Edge does the spear, he's actually like holding the ropes just to, get momentum. And when Edge held onto the rope, Rhea came out of nowhere and just cuffed him. I thought that was an awesome spot. So yeah, so definitely, Beth came out to try to make the save. And, Edge actually said, I quit right before Rhea did the concerto. She did the concerto anyway. So, yeah, Judgment Day came off great here. I thought they got a lot of heat. Without a doubt, when you look at the big companies in the United States right now, in terms of WWE, AEW, and obviously Impact has Honor No More, I think this Judgment Day stable is really hitting their stride right now. This was the best presentation that they've had so far. I thought they got a lot of heat here. What really could have been a finish here, and it's funny, this had a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of different parts in this match where you thought Edge might have got the victory here. But you kind of just knew, like, as soon as you saw Beth, that had to be the finish. But I'll tell you what really would have been a cool finish too is that coup de grace. It looked like Baylor was going to do a coup de grace like 10 times in a row until Edge quit. But thank God Edge didn't do that. I think taking the coup de grace anything over 2 to 3 times would have just been suicide. Because as you get older, you'll find out that the stomach muscles are very, very sensitive, very, very delicate. So yeah, that would have been a lot of pressure on Edge's upper and lower body to keep taking those consecutive coup de grace. But I thought that would have been a cool finish. But yeah, everybody played their role really nicely, including Damian Priest as well. So shout out to him. I thought he was great. So yeah, very, very, very dramatic, very overbooked, almost ECW style like in the overbooking. It felt like something you would have seen out of a Tommy Dreamer and Raven feud or a Tommy Dreamer and Sandman feud. It definitely had that type of feel to it. So definitely check it out. But like I said, guys, very tough match to rate. I really don't know what to rate it. I might want to rate it 5 stars in terms of the actual just segment of the match. But for what just Edge and Finn Balor did, I think 3.5 stars is probably a fair rating. So I could be way off on this one. Maybe somebody can help me out and give an accurate rating of this thing, because I'm finding it very tough to rate. And then the main event, we have the Fight Pit match. We got Matt Riddle taking on Seth Rollins. We got Daniel Cormier as the special guest referee. Okay, so with the Fight Pit, I will say this. I think when they did these in NXT, for some reason it looked a little bit cooler. I was hoping for a little bit more of those aerial shots of the Fight Pit so you can just see it from above. But, as the match progressed, you got a little bit more of that. The Fight Pit is really cool, especially you got it like this little ramp that goes around the top of the cage. So it's really something to see if you haven't seen this thing yet. But I thought Riddle and Rollins worked a good main event. I was thrilled that they got the main event. I was expecting the main event to be Ronda and Liv because Ronda's on the cover for Extreme Rules. But I got to say, man, I thought they did a great job, and they had a lot of things working against it. Number one, there was a couple of fans just chanting for Bray Wyatt throughout the whole match. I thought that hurt it a little bit. And, it's tough to work a main event when there's no championship on the line. But, Roman's not defending the belt. So I was glad that Riddle and Rollins got a chance to shine here. I think what also hurt it a little bit in terms of the fans, the referee from the UFC, Daniel Cormier, It really felt like the beginning of the match. He was taking, he kind of took the attention off of Riddle and Rollins throughout a lot of the thing. So if you want to nitpick, I think all of those things kind of came into play. But yeah, I still thought it was cool though, man. I thought they gave you some really, really good, submission wrestling. I thought it was engaging stuff. They gave you exciting action off the top of the ramp. Rollins actually hitting the pedigree and then wanting Cormier to actually count from the bottom of the pit. He's like, no, you got to bring him down. So I thought that was cool. Riddle actually goes for the, what does he call it? The Broton. He actually pulled off the Broton where he looks like he's going for a double leg drop, but it's actually a splash back first to Rollins. It looked a little bit awkward. Looked like Riddle was actually in more pain than Rollins. But I loved it. I loved it. The triangle choke into the consecutive buckle bombs into the cage. So really physical stuff. Yeah, I think the match could have been a little bit better. I think the actual wrestling at Clash of the Castle between the two guys was probably a little bit better. But there were some things holding this thing back, but I'm still appreciative of the work that they did, and big time victory for Matt Riddle, man. So yeah, I really enjoyed the main event, and then the pay-per-view ends with the return of Bray Wyatt, and yeah. I'm a little bit surprised at how many people are going apeshit over this guy. I mean, he actually got a holy shit chant when he came out. I mean, you think Kobe came back from the fucking dead with how people are crazy about this guy. I mean, are we forgetting about the SummerSlam 2020 main event when, no one really cared about the Extreme Rules main event and the SummerSlam 2020 main event? Where him and Braun Strowman, were heavily criticized and no one wanted to talk about those pay-per-views. I guess people forgot about that already. So, yeah, I mean, if you take a year and a half off, take 2 years off and come back and you get a hero's welcome. I will say this, though. I mean, everybody knows I'm not a huge Bray Wyatt. I mean, some people know I'm not a huge Bray Wyatt fan. I don't like him on the mic. I don't like most of his matches. I think he's a little bit overhyped. But hey, what makes this run different is it's Bray Wyatt without Vince McMahon. I don't know how much Vince held him back or how much Vince helped him. Obviously, it's well documented that he's more of a Triple H. Triple H is more of a supporter of Bray Wyatt than anybody. So we'll see. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and we'll see if this can, be a much more successful run than what happened in 2020 when he got booed out of the building at WrestleMania in the opener with Randy Orton. But yeah, I'm just surprised at how quickly, people are ready to embrace this guy. I don't know. I kind of felt bad for Riddle and Rollins that they had to, deal with a lot of those fans cheering for Wyatt. I do, but that shouldn't take away from this pay-per-view right here. But yeah, I'm not going to say that Bray Wyatt's entrance wasn't cool. It was actually very well done. And anytime you could get the crowd to react in that kind of way, it's always a thumbs up. So yeah, Extreme Rules is definitely a lot of fun. Awesome opener. Awesome main event. Awesome I Quit match. And yeah, really, really good women's ladder match. There was a lot to like on this show. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And I'm out.